Hello, this is Tom. I'm heading out to volunteer at Mayfu Primate Park in West Africa's Cameroon in just a few days, and so thought I would record some of my thoughts about this journey and where it all started. Background. For the past 2 years, I've been an intern for the Kerelos Centre, which as an organisation is working toward realising the importance of our relationship to other species, in light of how we so often fail to recognise the wisdom, intelligence, and rights of other animals that we see as having a lower status to us in the world. Through a different way of looking, a different paradigm, where we can perhaps perceive and understand through a more nature-based consciousness, there is not only a recognition and appreciation of deep beauty inherent in other than human species, but also wisdom, intelligence, and strength that may be very different to our own, but equally valid. As part of my Kerelos internship, I went to volunteer at a couple of animal sanctuaries, one in India and another in Ireland. I spent time with cows, dogs, donkeys, cats, chickens, turkeys, horses, and tortoises. Taking time to look and listen, I experienced deep-rooted presence and clear depth in the beings I encountered. This depth is complex and intricate, and also carries importance, something that I can no longer overlook, disregard, or neglect. I recognised a kinship that I wanted to honour and take care of. As a result, I decided to start a Sacred Bones program in 2013, which is a dynamic, mentored curriculum offered by the Kerala Centre. It's a way to engage holistically in implementing balanced action, directing energy to purpose, and taking care of the difficulties and despair that's often experienced when empathizing with the circumstances of other species. The Sacred Bones Program. Sacred Bones is a mentored journey where participants choose to stand with a non-human animal. In the same way you might stand with a cause that you believe in, or ideals that resonate with you, standing with another animal is a show of respect and support for their existence and importance in the world. The program leads through 3 stages of 1. Remembrance. Bringing to mind our relationship to other species through contemplative inquiry and learning new ways of looking to gain insight into our interconnectedness and codependence with other species. 2. Return. Embarking on a journey or pilgrimage to a significant site for the chosen animal, in order to experientially gain understanding as well as reconcile what may be a damaged relationship with that animal, as if symbolically returning sacred bones to their place of belonging in a gesture for peace, renewed reverence, and intention. And 3. Renewal. In light of the experience of the previous stages of the Sacred Bones program, asking what has changed in us as a result, and designing actions that embody our resolve and personal growth. When I was a child, I wanted to be a gorilla, or a chimpanzee, or a monkey, or at least I wanted to meet one, to be friends with one, and be close. I was so interested in them, enthralled and excited by primates of any kind. I kept this special appreciation ever since, and so I decided I would stand with gorillas in the Sacred Bones program, to bear witness to their experience of the world, and to try to understand more deeply what life means to them, including their desires and difficulties. When I found out about Ape Action Africa's amazing work with Cameroon's primates, I thought this may be the place to go as the renewal part of Sacred Bones. But it made me a bit nervous too. Genetically, primates are so closely related to us, and I wasn't sure I was ready to work with gorillas and chimpanzees and to identify with problems that may well overwhelm me. But I remember reflecting on the whole idea and considering whether or not to embark on a bigger project like this. And on one particular occasion, I had quite a vivid feeling that somewhere in the world, I didn't know where it was or the time of day, but I could quite imagine a gorilla sitting there in the same way I was sitting, at home, breathing in the way that I was breathing. And I realized that safe environments, that feeling of being at home, is very endangered for so many primates. I felt that working towards safeguarding that kind of environment is very important. In my experience, for me to feel safe and at home gives me such a lot and really contributes to my well-being. So it felt important to also help other species to have those kinds of environments available to them. I decided to put any nervousness aside and started to organise this trip. I chose to stand with gorillas as a way to focus in, look deeply and reflect on how another species lives in the world, including the difficulties they encounter. This journey to Cameroon to spend time with and in service to primates is a journey deeper into my understanding of kinship with another species. It's a symbolic gesture to primates that I'm willing to bear witness to their positions and situations in the world, so that I can understand through experience what role I can play in the future recognition and safeguarding of non-human animal interests and their renewal. With regards to the renewal part of Sacred Bones, I hope to forge a commitment to long-term action without a sense of penance or guilt or anger, but instead, if made skillfully, a commitment that inspires me, gives me energy to cultivate open-heartedness, and puts my talents to good use. Tentatively, and with caution, I can say that a long-term aim is to facilitate communities to take heart and feel motivated to be active in more deeply appreciating other species and contributing to their well-being and continued presence in the world. In the collection of essays called Spiritual Ecology, The Cry of the Earth, eco-philosopher and activist Joanna Macy explains what she calls the greening of the self as a way to reintegrate the separate self into a larger nature-based consciousness. She goes on to share the following passage. Among those who are shedding these old constructs of self, like old skin of a confining shell, is John Seed, director of the Rainforest Information Centre in Australia. One day, we were walking through the rainforest in New South Wales, where he has his office, and I asked him, "You talk about the struggle against the lumber companies and the politicians to save the remaining rainforests. How do you deal with the despair?" He replied, "I try to remember that it's not me, John Seed, trying to protect the rainforest. Rather, I am part of the rainforest trying to protect itself. I am that part of the rainforest recently emerged into human thinking." This is what I mean by the greening of the self. It involves the combining of the mystical with the pragmatic, transcending separateness, alienation, and fragmentation. It is a shift that Seed himself calls a spiritual change, generating a sense of profound interconnectedness with all life. When I first read this essay, it really touched me. Opening to the reality of a non-separate, interconnected me opens a doorway to be significantly altered by these encounters to come. A gorilla can well emerge into my thinking and ask me to stand present, bear witness, and act in the world on her behalf. I recognize a desire in me for that alteration to take place, even though another part of me feels protective of the small, separate self. But perhaps it is my time to be greened a deeper shade. I can't wander too far into the possibilities, so I have to remind myself that at present the importance of going is the going. I am travelling there to touch another culture, to be touched, to listen to what's being said and left unsaid, and to try to understand. I'm so grateful to all the support that has been offered through encouragement and donations. I take you all with me on this trip, and I send a special thanks to Gay Bradshaw, the director of Kerolos, for inspiring me, for her expansive mentoring, for reading me bedtime stories about old elephant friends, and opening a lot of this world for me, together with my old teacher and friend Janet Kalo. So, as they say in Japan, gambaru desu ne, which means something like, I'll do my best. I'll be in touch again when I'm back. Wish me luck.